your grief story. People act like your grief ended when the funeral ended. They want your grief to end when the funeral is over. And for a lot of us, that's not the case. For most of us, that's not the case. For no one that I know is their grief over once the funeral is over. It's just not the way it happens. You have a life story, you have a grief story. That's just the way it is, period. Wherever you are with your life is exactly how your grief story is still evolving, right? Some people think that the moment the casket closes, that their story ended. But here is what I want you to know, because we all should know better about this. Grief doesn't end with a single chapter. It is not wrapped up in time. It's not wrapped up in time heals. It's not wrapped up in bullshit. It is a living story that breathes. It twists, it turns, and it keeps moving. The problem is with a lot of us, we don't know what to do with this moving. We don't know what to do with this ebb and flow. And right now, you might feel buried under the rubble. Like every step you take is dragging you down. It might feel like that. But let me tell you the truth. This is not the ending. This is not the ending of your story. So let me ask you this. Have you been living like it's over? Have you been living like your grief is over? Have you been living like this pain is over? Because it's not. And that's where we're going to pick up tonight. We're going to pick up in the grief story and where it actually is. You've been told that the grief should be over. You've been told that the story is over. And maybe not in those exact words, but a sideways comment. Someone told me today that she was told, you know what worked for me to get over it? You know what helped me to get over it? That's what she was told, what helped her to get over it. It's not always, hey, girl, this should be over by now. Sometimes it's a sideways comment. It's a comment that we're not exactly expecting. It's been 1 year now. 1 year, as if the calendar marks the grief. Don't you think it's time to move on? It's probably time for you to start dating. Or the silence when they don't mention at all. When they don't mention your person at all. That silence can be, thank you, Bella. Thank you, Bella Red. The silence can be really excruciating. Because you walk in the room, you expect people to talk to you about your person, and they don't say anything. But here's the truth. Here's the truth, and I need you to sit with. Your grief story isn't over yet. You are really, right now, you are really living the grief story. It's just like our past. We all, think about it this way. How many times have you been somewhere and you said, those were the good old days. Oh, I remember junior high school. Those were the good old days. Oh, I remember when I first got married. Oh man, those were the good old days. Oh, when I first had my baby, those were the good old days. How many times have we said that? So many times we've said that. Friends, right now, you are living in the grief story, just like when you lived in the good old days. Right now, each and every one of us is living in our good old days. We're going to look back at this time, maybe not today, if the grief is really bad, maybe not this year, maybe not this month, but you're going to look back in your relationship with your person and you're going to be like, these are the good old days. And it's the same thing that's happening in your grief story. It's not over yet. It never was. It's not supposed to be shoved into some box, neat and nice and clean. Your person dies, you have the funeral, and then you shove the grief into the box. That's not what we're supposed to do. We're still in it. You're still writing it. The pen is still moving, for Christ's sake. You're still learning how to do this. So let me ask you this. Have you been living like your story has already ended? Are you living like your story has already ended? Have you been swallowing the lie and pretending that this chapter is over? Are you walking around with everyone and pretending like this grief is over? Because it's not, friends. You're still writing the grief story. I don't know where you are, but if you're showing up here, it's telling me that there's still more story to be told. When loss hits, it doesn't feel like a story at all. It feels like pain. It feels like brokenness. It feels like rubble. It feels like everything you know is crushed to the ground. Like the whole that damn thing has just collapsed onto you. People look at you and think, well, at least she's still standing. Check. But they don't see what's buried underneath. What's buried underneath the weight of that rubble. You're trying to walk upright, but every step feels like dragging concrete along with you. That's not an ending. That's not an ending. That's misery. That's the middle of the wreckage. That's not the end of the story. And the hardest part is believing that anything can rise from this, that I can get anything out of this. Sorry, guys, I drank my coffee too late. And the hardest part is believing that you can get anything to rise out of this rubble. So let me ask you this. Do you feel like you're buried under rubble right now? Do you think you feel like you're buried under the rubble of grief? Or can you sense that there's still a story trying to push its way out? Friends, I have a grief story. I have multiple grief stories. The main one that started for me that helped me to be a grief specialist is Austin's story. Austin's story is what made me be the lady that talks about the grief shit. I'm the lady that talks about the grief shit. We were never taught. Oh my gosh, that is so cute. Thank you for the encouragement. That was really cute. We were never taught this shit. We were never taught this shit how to grieve. No one told us that grief is a living story and that it's your story and that nobody has the right to it. No one told you that this story breathes and that it twists and turns and that there's a lot of drama involved in it. There's family drama involved in it. There's your own personal drama and there's pain. All of that's there. Some of the chapters of your grief story are unbearable. Some of the chapters of your grief story have you laying on the ground in a ball, rolled up, trying to figure out how you're going to move next. I promise you it's not the conclusion. That's a bad chapter. Your grief story keeps unfolding because you keep unfolding. Healing isn't about ripping the sad chapters out of the book and pretending like they don't exist. They are the chapters. The sad chapters are the chapters. You need them. You need the chapters in there to make that story complete. You need to know what happened in each and every chapter. You need to know how bad this feels. You're living it. You need to honor it, my love. What would it mean if you believed that your story wasn't finished? If you truly believed that your story wasn't finished, what would it mean to you? What shifts would happen for you? What shifts would happen inside of your heart if you knew that there was more coming, that there's more pain that you need to process, that you know how to process? Would you listen? Would you listen? Okay. I know what some of you are thinking, but Sharon, my person is gone. Sharon, Austin's gone. How can you be saying this? I don't want a next chapter. And I get that because I didn't want a next chapter either. All I wanted to do was scream inside. Every person that came up to me, I just wanted to scream in their face. But here's what I want you to hear. Your love didn't die. Your love didn't die with them. Your connection didn't stop because they died. The story doesn't get erased because they are no longer here. You are still here. And because you are here, your grief story keeps moving. So the question is, whether you stay locked in the pain, whether you stay locked in the pain of this chapter, or whether you take the risk to see what else might be written. Think about that. Here's the question. Do you stay locked into the pain? And I say this all the time, grievers have choices, or do you pick one of the choices? Let me ask you this. Are you willing to believe just for tonight that your grief story still has chapters that haven't been discovered yet? There are so many of you that have lost a partner and they're trying to figure out the next step. There are so many of you that have lost a child and you're trying to figure out the next step. Where do I go from here? What if something really good was to happen from that? What if something were to change? What if something really bad was to happen to that? Would that be okay if it was part of your grief story? Learning how to move to the next level, moving to the next level. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen for you. I really want to say that. But I'm going to be doing a lecture tomorrow night on how grief makes you sick. And I've been teasing it. I did that live. I did a live last night on it. I did a taught on that in Grief Study Hall. Actually, Grief Study Hall, we did dumping, but I taught on the live yesterday and last night. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time in the Grieve That Shit Lecture, we're going to go deep into that subject. It's not going to be on the surface. I want to talk about getting down in there and how it's making you sick and things that you can do to help you with your grief. But I took a sidetrack. I was going to do the same thing today, but I don't know. It's just me. I don't want to sound like I'm repeating myself. But this is so true. Sorry, lost my place. Go register. Go register. Click the link. Click the link above. If you're on TikTok, you're going to click the link above that says click here for hope. And in there, you're going to see the register for the Grieve That Shit Lecture. If you are on any of the other platforms, you're simply going to go into the live and you're going to click into the social media post. And at the bottom, it says Beacons AI. You're going to go in there. Hey, Joanne, a medical emergency room me last night. EMS came, panic attack. I don't get panic attacks. I started Saturday when I looked at a ton of photos of my husband. Joanne, you need to go, do me a favor, please, Joanne. Go into the link that says Beacons AI, the Grief School. And at the bottom of that page is a place where you can set an appointment to meet with me. I can help you with this, my love. I can help you with this panic attack. If you go in there and set an appointment, I'd be honored to walk you through that so that it doesn't happen again. I'm so sorry that was part of your grief story. Remember, I just said, what if it's really bad? Right? What if it's really bad? Now let's talk about danger of believing that your grief story is over. You know what happens when you buy into this lie? You stop moving. You stop breathing. You stop actually living and showing up for yourself. You put the pen down. You hand your story over to other people and you allow them to finish it. You hand your story over to other people and you allow them to finish it. You hand your grief story over to other people and they're like, it's okay. This is over. You should move on. They don't know what's going on in this grief story. They don't know what's going on in your grief story. Your grief story is your relationship with your person. It's not fair that they get to finish it. You put the pen down and you hand it to other people. The ones that don't get it. The ones who want you to be better. The ones who want you to move on. The ones who want you to be over it. The ones who are trying to comfort you. And your life becomes someone else's version. And their grief story gets written in. They finish the chapters. They start telling you you're over it. They start telling you to stop acting like that. They start telling you to let it go. And I don't know if that's what your person wants for you. I don't know. But you know what I can tell you? I can tell you that Donovan was in the pretty committee and he was really stuck on himself. I'm saying this with love, guys. There's a possibility if I were to see Donovan, he's like, wait, you guys aren't talking about me every day? I don't know. Maybe that's what he would want. Who's holding the pen of your story? Is it you? Are you writing it? Or are you giving it to someone else to finish? Are you giving it to someone else to complete? When I work with women in the study hall program, which is once a week we have study hall. It's a 2-hour class. It's on Zoom. It's where you come in. It's where you get coached. It's where I teach. They come in thinking about their grief story. They're sharing their grief story with me. They're asking me parts about the grief story. I'm able to go into their story with them and help them figure out parts. Why they're not talking about it, why they're not sharing with it, did they respond this way? We're able to talk about that. I love these lives, but I can't do that here. But we talk, we name it, we lean into it, and something starts to shift for them. We realize there's a whole new story that needs to be told. Friends, when I sit down and I tell my story of Austin, it's my whole grief story. It's from the moment that he was born. My grief story with Austin starts from the moment he was born. And it 100% goes till the day he died and after. Austin died. We did the funeral. My story didn't end. If you've been around me for any amount of time, I talk about trying to figure out what grief was, not knowing what grief was. That's part of my story with Austin. My story with Austin leads right into my dad dying. It leads right into it. There was a break. There was a large break, but I can lead you right to that part. But there's a definite end for Austin's story. At the end for me is the day that I picked up the pen and started helping other women. When I became the Grieve That Shit woman, when I became the Grieve That Shit girl, I'm the one that started sharing that with you. Now, in the story of me and Austin, I realized that there was a whole new story to be told. One where grief didn't keep me locked in jail, but one where I could teach and help other women learn. Where I could really miss Austin and my heart could be broken, but I was still breathing. I was still standing upright. There was a story in me that changed me forever. It changed me. Every loss has changed me forever. But I wasn't forever destroyed. If we keep saying, my story's over, my life has no meaning, I will never be the same again, you start shutting yourself down. You start to reinforce those beliefs. But what if instead you said, my grief story isn't over. It is still unfolding. Who am I going to be in this grief? Who am I in this grief? What if I told you this isn't the end? That for some of you, you're just barely in the middle. Your grief story isn't over yet. It doesn't end in tragedy. It's not going to end tragically for you in your heart. What if the end of your story, you're actually standing upright? What if at the end of your story, you're actually able to talk about your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister? The words you use to describe your grief become the instructions that your brain will follow. And this is not woo-woo. And I'm not just writing it in. What you tell yourself about your grief is the way your heart is going to follow and the way your life is going to follow in with you. Okay. I want to stop right here and remind you that this work that we're doing, I'm going to be taking it deeper tomorrow night in the Grieve That Shit lecture. I'd love for you guys to join me. It's in Zoom. You click the link above, click the link that says click here for hope. And right up there is where you're going to see the link to the Grieve That Shit lecture. For some of you, you're terrified for the next chapter. Some of you are terrified right where you are. Some of you are terrified in the grief right where it sits right now. You don't want to imagine the next chapter because deep down you're thinking, if you turn the page, it means you're leaving your person behind. And your grief is whispering to you, don't turn the page. Don't turn the page. You're going to leave me behind. And that, my friend, is a lie. If you absolutely went after this grief, I don't want to say able, if you absolutely went after this grief, You're not betraying them. You're not betraying yourself. If you smile again, is that okay? If you smiled again, is it okay if you smile again? Hey, Miss Laura, thank you. Just because you smile again doesn't mean you're forgetting them. If you go to a party and you enjoy a cupcake, does it mean you're forgetting your person? No, they go with you everywhere you go. But let me tell you the truth. Turning the page is how it has to be done. We have to turn the page. We have to turn the page and we carry them with us. But how do we do that? Their love didn't stay in the death chapter. We didn't just get to the chapter where they died and then all their love just stayed there. We didn't get to chapter 6. Oh my gosh. And then Austin drowned at the lake. His love for me didn't drown at the lake. Austin drowned. Austin absolutely drowned. Hey, doll pipe, thank you. Austin drowned at the lake. But his love for me, I still feel in my heart. I still have stories of Austin. I still remember Austin. I still sense his love. And you know what's missing? The pain. The pain of grief is missing. Turning the page. You're turning the page on truth. You're turning the page is how you carry them with you. You do the grief work and you turn the page. You do the grief work and then you turn the page. And in this page, now I go out, I take Austin with me, I talk about him, I share about him, I share about Sharon, I share funny stories about her. So are you ready to stop betraying yourself in the name of loyalty? Because that's what we're doing. Instead, we should be honoring our person by living the story, right? Finishing the story, finish the healing chapter, and then start living the story. Okay, let me pause right here. I want you to think about something. When you look at your life right now, whose story are you living in? This is huge, friends. Whose story are you living in? Are you living in your person's story? Am I living Austin's story? Or are you living your own story? A lot of us are living the story of our person. A lot of us are living the story of our person. Cynthia, I see you. I'll be right there, sweetie. A lot of us are not living our own story. We're living the pain and the grief from them, and we're carrying it with us everywhere we go. Everywhere we go, we're dumping this pain. Your story is raw. Your story is messy. Your story is unfinished. And that's the part you have to work through. That's the part you have to work through. That's the grief. But it's yours, right? And you've got to work through that for you. But are you walking around living the pain, the death of the death and the funeral and living that every single day? Or are you creating the story of where you need to be, right? So hear me out. The story of where we need to be includes the rawness, includes the mess, includes the ugliness. But it also includes us moving forward. It's your story. You get to live it without anyone telling you to be strong, telling you to get back to normal, telling you to be over it already. Let's be real. These aren't chapters of a grief story. Be strong, get over it, move on. Your grief story says, and then I was broken. And then it was ugly. And then snot was running down my nose. And I found this grief study hall and I shared in that grief study hall. I shared with other women who were there and I started to learn things. I learned things about myself. I learned things about my grief. Other people want to come up with their pen and they want to edit your grief story. They want to make it, your grief story should be like theirs. Your grief story should be just as painful as theirs. Your grief story should be never ending, just like theirs. That's such BS. Here's one thing about grief. It doesn't end because someone else is done hearing about it. Just because my neighbor doesn't want to hear my story anymore doesn't mean it ends. It doesn't mean it softens just because she doesn't want to hear it. And it sure as hell doesn't disappear just because the calendar changed. Just because I went from January to February to March to April to May to June. The grief is tied to your love. It is tied to your love. It is stitched into the marrow of who you are. And that's why we are creating these beautiful stories about our person. Your love doesn't vanish, my friends. It doesn't. That's why your story keeps going. That's why you are the author of this amazing story. Your love keeps going because you keep going. Even on the days when you swore you couldn't move one more day. Even when you thought you couldn't make it one more day. So if your love hasn't ended, if your love for your person has not ended and you still love them with all of your heart, why would your story be over? Why would your story have ended, have be over for you? Why are you not talking about it anymore? Why are you not doing the work to move the pain? Now, some of you have been holding your breath inside of your grief. You're not even moving. You're just frozen in time. I see it. I see it every single day. You've been waiting for permission to exhale. You're waiting for permission to say, I'm not okay. You're waiting for permission to say, it's okay to still talk about them. Girl, talk about them. You're waiting for me to give you a signal that you're not crazy. You're waiting me to tell you, okay, it's okay that you miss them. It's okay. You're waiting for me to tell you, it's okay. You're not crazy. Don't worry, girl. You're not crazy. You're waiting to hear, you're not weak. And all of that is true. All of that's true. And all of that is a part of your grief story. But here's the part I want you to know. You're grieving. You're grieving. And we're in the chapter called grieving. We're in the chapter called grieving. For most of us here, we're in the chapter called grieving. And what does that chapter look like for you? When you open the book on grieving, what does the chapter of grieving look like? Are you living and replace the loss? Or does it look like you need to be strong for others? Does the chapter on grieving look like you're giving it time to heal? Right? Has everyone told you not to feel bad, and so now you're trying not to feel bad? Have they told you to grieve alone, and now you're trying to grieve alone? Have people told you if you're not sad, then you're not grieving? Are you afraid because you didn't cry enough and people didn't see all your tears? Where are you at in this grief chapter? Does moving forward mean forgetting? What does it cost you to believe all of these lies? What does it absolutely cost you to believe all of these lies about grief? Just because no one is comfortable around your grief does not mean that your story is over. Friends, you're grieving. Your love is the rawest. It is the rawest and loudest form out there. Your story isn't done just because everybody's uncomfortable and they're giving you those little platitudes about be strong and give it time. If you tell yourself, I'll never get through this. If you tell yourself, I'll never get through this, your brain is going to look for evidence on ways for you not to get through it. It is going to hold on to that script. I will never get through this. And it is going to hold on to it. It's search for proof and evidence that you are never going to get through it. And every hard day becomes the evidence of one little thought. I'm never going to get through this. But if you shift just one word, I'm learning how to live with this. I'm learning how to get through this. Just add one word, learning. Your brain starts searching for proof of how to get through the grief, how to move through the grief. It takes it from a toxicity to a possibility. It's about giving your brain better instructions on the chapters. So which script are you following right now? I will never, or I'm learning. I will never get over this. You never get over the loss of a child. Your life never moves on. When we talk in absolutes like that, it is so hard, my friends. When we add in the word I'm learning, it's where the grief has a place to move. And that's why tomorrow night at 7 p.m., I want to invite each and every one of you to the Grieve That Shit Lecture. Click the link in the bio that says click here for hope, and there you can join the lecture. I want to implore upon you this. Join the lecture, because even if you don't come tomorrow at 7, you'll at least get the recap. Patty says, I lost my mom, and I say daily, I'll never be the same. Bless your heart, Petty Cat. Bless your heart. And that I'm only asking you to change one word. I'm learning how to be the same. I'm learning about my grief story. I'm learning to move with the pain. Just one word. Her name was Diana. Thank you. All right. Tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, I am doing the Grieve That Shit Lecture on why grief makes you so sick. And I'm actually going to give you tips and tricks to the trade. Okay. I want to bring this a little closer to home. This is for me. I remember sitting in my car on one of the hardest days of my grief. It was after Sharon died. Sharon was my best friend. Oh, your mom was Patty. Your name is Diana. Hi, Diana. Sharon was my best friend. She was my best friend for 15 years. She was my best friend for 15 years. I've been married to my amazing husband for 40 years. Sharon was my soul sister. We were together all the time. We talked all the time. We shared all the time. I remember sitting in the car and the world was still spinning. People were trying to be there for me and support me, but I didn't want that. I didn't want it. I think they were trying even harder because I was a grief specialist, and they knew that this grief really cracked me wide open. But as I was sitting in the car, there was traffic everywhere. It was a hustle bustle. People were moving around. They were living their lives. I was actually sitting in a parking lot, and I wanted to scream. I was supposed to be going into the store. I lost my best friend. Doesn't anybody see me? I felt like my whole world had just ended. And when I tell you that that scream was real, that it was raw, that I was screaming at the top of my lungs in the car, I needed her. I needed her to be with me, to help me. I completely felt like someone had ripped my heart out. It felt like forever. I was just screaming and screaming and screaming and screaming. I was crying. I was beating on the steering wheel. And actually, I was mad at her. I was asking her, how could she leave me? There were no words coming. I didn't see a future. I didn't know that that grief with Sharon was part of my story. This thing that I'm sharing with you guys now has come about later. I didn't realize that my grief story was unfolding. And it was different than any other grief. It was different than my grief with Austin. It was different than my grief with my dad. It was different than my grief with Donovan. It was so different. Yeah, Miss Laura, I know. my heart to yours. Have you mistaken a scream, a moment in time, being on the bathroom floor, snot running down your nose, not being able to get up and go to work, as just a part in your grief, and that you have to just accept it? Because it is a whole chapter. It was a whole chapter. I was begging her to give me a sign. I was begging Sharon to give me a sign. And Sharon knew, she knew very much that I was very much into dragonflies. I had been into dragonflies since Donovan died. And I kid you not, a dragonfly dropped right down in front of my mirror, my windshield. Here's the danger, friends. That dragonfly gave me relief. It really did. My grief with Sharon lasted a long time. It lasted longer than Austin's, longer than Donovan's, and longer than my dad's. Partly, and I look at it now, because I was so darn stubborn. I knew the thing that I needed to do. I knew that the grief that I needed to work on with her, but it lasted a long time. One of the other things that I was sharing today in Grief Study Hall is that when you lose your person, that's your rock. When you lose your person, that's your rock. Sharon was my rock. I talked to her about everything. I talked through everything with her. She was my person. I talked through everything with her. She was my rock. I lost both of those. I lost both of those. I lost the person that I talked to about everything, and that was huge. Here's the danger. If you decide your grief story is finished, it ended right here when the day they died, you cut yourselves off from the parts of the healing that are showing up. You cut yourselves off. You won't see the moments of connection like I saw that dragonfly. There will be no glimmers of hope for you. Because if you've decided your grief story ended with them and your life ended with them and you buried it with them, there's still parts to be lived. The pieces of yourself that slowly starts to come back, you won't see that because you've already closed the book. You've already closed the book. And when you close the book and you slam it shut, it's as if you are sticking right there. It's as if you have decided to sit right there. It's like you're almost abandoning yourself from the continued healing. I didn't want to move on with Sharon because it hurt so bad. And I needed her and I was mad. I was mad. You've been through enough loss without abandoning yourself on top of all of this. I want you to imagine something with me. Imagine you're sitting across from your person right now. Imagine you're sitting across from that one person, the one you lost. And imagine telling them, and I don't know, for each and every one of you, this is going to be different. My life ended when yours did. My story is over because you're not here. I'm just going to share from my perspective. I don't know you guys, but I'm telling you, Sharon wouldn't want that for me. She's like, no, it didn't. Get your ass up, get over there, and do what you need to do. I know because I know that's who Sharon was. Do you think that they would want that for you? Each and every one of us needs to answer it for our own. Does our person want our life to end right now? Would they look you in the eyes and say, girl, you got to keep writing the story. You got to. You have to keep living. You have to carry me with you into the next chapter. You know the answer. The problem is, it's easier for us right now to say I'm done than to continue on with this pain because it hurts. It hurts a lot. Are you willing to risk writing again even if the ink and your pen and your hand is really shaky, even if you're crying all over it. Debbie said, my mom will say, Deborah, stop that right now. Let me push you a little bit right here. I think I pushed you in just a second ago, and I want to push you more because grief can make us so stubborn. We cling to the pain because it feels like the last piece of them. We cling to that pain. We want that pain. We convince ourselves that if we stop hurting, we'll stop remembering. But that is a lie. Grief pain isn't a memory. Grief pain isn't the love. Grief pain is the wound of the loss. And wounds are meant to be healed. You don't have to keep it open to prove that they mattered. They mattered because you're going to be sharing them. You're going to be sharing about them. You're going to be talking about them. Full stop. What are you holding on to within the wound? Are you holding on to the pain? Are you holding on to the love? What is wrapped up in that wound that makes so much sense for you to hold on to it? Will you let the wound close so you can carry their memory without bleeding it out? That is a really big question, friends. Your grief story isn't just about the loss. It's about resilience. It's about the fight. It's about learning. It's about learning to shift the emotion. It's about showing up for yourself. It's about love, the love that refuses to die. And it's about the new person that you are becoming. You will be forever changed. I promise you, you are forever changed. It's about the version of you that you've never seen her. You don't know her. You don't know who this broken girl is, this heartbroken woman. You don't know who she is. Is she still choosing to get out of bed? Is she going back to work? Does she talk about our person anymore? This version of you who remembers and still keeps breathing? Don't erase that part from your story. It's major. Me sitting and crying about Sharon was a part of my story with Sharon. If I hadn't gone through that, I wouldn't be able to share this with you. I had to go through all of it to be ready, willing, and able to share all of this with you. Okay, friends, I hope you're all deciding that you're going to come to the Grieve That Shit Lecture, which is tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. The topic is why grief makes us sick. And I've been teasing it out a little bit, but we're going to take it deeper. We're going to actually have some exercises we're working on in that tomorrow. I want to talk real quick about the fear of feeling joy. Yes, the fear of joy. Some of you don't just fear letting the pain go. Some of you aren't even laughing. Some of you won't even allow yourself to laugh. You won't even go watch a funny movie. You won't enjoy a piece of cake. You won't take a moment of happiness. You are absolutely punishing yourself here on earth. You are terrified what it would mean if you forget your person. If I have fun, then that means I'm going to forget them. Am I betraying her by eating this pie? I know the world is going to say to you, see, she's fine now. Your mother's in a better place. She wouldn't want you to feel this way. They're going to say that to you. And when they see you standing upright and walking, they're going to think you're okay. I want to tell you something, my friends. Grief and joy can live in the same room. You're on your grief healing journey. You're going through it. You're writing the story. It is painful. But in the same room is joy. You can have that piece of cake. You can watch that movie. Angelica, you can laugh at a memory. You can cry. You can cry. My mom's husband passed away on Monday. On Tuesday, I came here and I sat at the kitchen counter, and she would talk about him, then she would talk about something else. Then she would go back to him, then she would talk about something else. Well, I'm here right now. I'm at her house tonight. And I hear her, she's watching a movie, and I've heard her laugh a couple of times. Grief and joy can live in the same room. When I tell you guys, when I tell you women, when I tell you friends that my mother is grieving, she absolutely is grieving. Lawrence was a very good friend of hers. And we've been talking about grief in all different ways. She's seeing it because she's so active in the grief now. She's seeing it from different perspectives. The fact that you can laugh at a memory and cry at the same memory proves to me that they live together. Grief and joy live together. You can be telling someone a story. Remember that time that dad, ... filled in the blank, and you guys all laugh. And then all of a sudden, I'll see one of you just turn your head and start staring and be so sad. So sad. I want you to picture something. Your person standing behind you as you sit in the grief. Imagine that they're whispering to you, "Hey girl, don't stop here. Don't freeze here. Keep going. I want you to keep going. I love you. You love me. And I want the best for you. I want the best for you. I want you to live. I want you to do your grief work. I want you to mend the wound. And then I want you to carry the memories that you and I have had together forever. I never wanted you to chain yourself to this grief and to be left behind. You have another chapter in you. I want you to write that chapter. What if she was whispering that in your ear? What if he was telling you that that's okay? Are you willing to live the part of your story that your person is no longer here, but you're living that part of your story with them? I'm not saying the next chapter is all sunshine. I'm not saying rainbows are going to fall out of the sky. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I want to see you doing both. I want to see you enjoying the vanilla ice cream. And I want you coming here and let's work on the grief together. There will be chapters that have a ton of tears. There will be chapters that have loneliness. There will be setbacks. I promise you there will. There will be. But there will also be chapters with connection. Connection to you and your person. Meaning. There will be times where you'll be screaming, but there'll be these tiny little sparks. These sparks in your life that you never thought were possible. But I'm here to tell you they absolutely are possible. That's what it means when I say your grief story isn't over yet. It doesn't cause, I'm not trying to get you to get back to living and to get on your tiny little dress and go to the club. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we can do both. I'm saying that we can do both. But I'm also saying this because a lot of people aren't out there saying that. And I'm the Grieve That Shit lady, and this is what I'm saying. I'm saying that working on your broken heart is possible. Working on that wound is possible. It doesn't erase what life you have lived and what life you have lived with them. Moving forward on your grief story is expanding it. Okay. If your story is, I'll always be broken, I'll be like this for the rest of my life, you filter your life through brokenness. I will always be broken, then everything that comes through your life is coming through the lens of brokenness. If your story is, I'm working on my grief, I'm working on learning how to heal, I'm learning how to grow, I'm learning how to carry this love in a different way, I'm learning how to carry this love in a different way, your brain starts to filter your healing through that. It starts to look for ways that you can get to get it to feel better. And one of those ways is going to be tomorrow night when I teach you how the grief is making you sick. You got the same old life. You got the same old grief, but a different filter. The brain is going to look for different pieces of evidence. So here's my challenge. Will you let another week go by stuck on the same page, or are you willing to join me tomorrow? If you're willing to join me tomorrow, click the link above that says click here for hope and click on the link that says Grieve That Shit Lecture. I'm going to give a lecture. It's going to be very much like this, but I think and hope a little bit more informative with some actual actual steps. When you click on the link that says click here for hope, I also wrote the ebook, That Grief Shit. And that's up there. Because that grief shit is where we talk about what is the shit of grief that nobody is willing to talk about. What's the shit, right? What is the actual shit? What is the shit we're really grieving? It's the part no one warned us about. It's losing your best friend. It's losing your mom and dad. It's losing your mom and dad and they were your best friend. It's the lies that we're being told every single day about how grief works. It's the well-meaning but harmful things people say. Aren't you over this yet? God will never give you more than you can handle. At least they're in a better place. It's the ache in your chest. It's the silence in your house. It's you. It's you sad. It's you broken. It's you alone. Finally realizing no one is coming to save you. That was me. And that was Erica. And no one was coming to save us until we faced it and until we did the work. And let's grieve that shit together is what this is all about. So I wasn't planning on showing you guys this, but I'm going to be going live, I think tomorrow during the day, maybe not, but on Saturday. And I'm going to be teaching right out of that grief shit on Saturday. What's the shit? What's the shit we need to dig through? Miss Erica, you're not late. Real quick, before I close this up, I want to talk about silence. Silence is one of the cruelest tricks that grief plays. Silence tells you, don't talk about them. Don't talk about them to her. Silence tells you no one wants to hear it anymore. And that's not true. It is simply not true. Silence convinces you that your grief story is boring, it's repetitive, or it's too much. People can't handle it. So it forces you to go into the silence. But the silence is poisoning. It poisons your heart, it poisons your soul, and it is how your grief starts to fester. You were never meant to hold this story all alone. You were never meant to hold your grief story all alone. Your grief story was meant to be shared. Your grief story was meant to be shared. And so are your videos. So are your videos. So are your videos. I don't know what you mean, Tracy. What do you mean by the videos, my love? Your silence is poison. The silence will fester. A hole will form. And in that hole, in your heart, gunk will seep through. Because when a festering is a big hole that is going to burrow its way in, you were never meant to hold this story alone. You were meant to speak it. Talk about your person. You're meant to name it. Name the pain that you're feeling. You were meant to breathe. You were meant to breathe. That is how the shift begins. That is how the shift begins. It begins by you doing some simple things, saying their names. Oh, yes, in the video that goes with it. You're so cute. And she said, you didn't talk about the videos. That grief shit has 9 training videos that go along with the chapters. So you get an email one every day, and then these little training videos, which I are all there. They're inside the videos. I love it. Thank you. Mwah. I love you guys. You guys are so good. You remind me of everything I'm supposed to be saying. All right. I'm going to be straight with you. Some of you have been bargaining with your grief. Nope. I can't. I can't what? Some of you have been bargaining with your grief. You're waiting for the pain to stop, and then you're going to start living. You leave the grief at home thinking you're going to be okay, but it follows you everywhere. You're waiting for the perfect moment and the right time. But here's the truth. There is no right time to start your grieving. There is no right time. Some of you cannot even say their name without crying. For you, study hall's perfect. It's a great place to come, listen, and be there and have other people talking about their grief. It's a great place to start. Some of you just want to listen to the podcast. So you listen to the podcast. That's great for you too. Some of you are going to just download the book and you're going to read the book, That Grief Shit. Some of you are waiting for Grieve That Shit. Lisa's Naughty Monkey says, I can't say their name or look at pictures. Yes, that's true. That's true. Some of us are like that. And that's where we have to take it a little bit at a time. You're waiting for the time to be perfect, for the time to be right. And that moment, and this moment is begging you to choose life again. It's begging you to choose. It's begging you to choose life again and not grief, not being alone by yourself. It's not telling you to erase them, but it's telling you to honor them. The truth is, there's going to be no right time. Is now the right time for you? Is a week from now the right time for you? Is a month? Start. You got to start somewhere. Start now. Come tomorrow to the Grieve That Shit Lecture. Come tomorrow. Stay in the lives. Join me in the lives. Join the Facebook group. Follow the podcast. I have so much out there. Go to the blog. I have so much out there for you where you can start easy. You can start simple. You can start a little bit at a time. Yes, it's the same for me, Becky. There's so many things that I needed to grieve. But once I learned the process of how to grieve it, it was much easier for me to go there. Here's what I want you to take from tonight, everybody. Grief doesn't write the ending. You do. Your grief is not writing the ending. Your neighbor is not writing the ending. Grief wrote the brutal parts. Grief wrote the heavy parts. Grief wrote the gut-wrenching chapters. Those were already written in your grief, but it doesn't own the conclusion of this story. You get to decide how this story continues. You get to decide how it ends. You get to decide how you're going to tell it. And if you're sitting here thinking, I don't even know how to start again, start with one of those things I already told you about. Go to the podcast. Come here to the lives. Come to the Grieve That Shit Lecture tomorrow night. Grievers have choices. Becky's right. They have to make decisions. And out of those decisions, they have choices. Study hall exists for you. Show up in study hall. Show up at the lectures. Continue coming to the lives. It's going to start shifting everything for you. I promise you. So here's what we do. You go to the link in the bio and you click on the link that says click here for hope. There you're going to find the Grieve That Shit Lecture. Sign up for that. You go down to the next square, it's going to say That Grief Shit. What is the grief shit? I'm going to be teaching out of this on Saturday. This is the ebook, right? You get this as a community outreach. It has this and 9 training videos that go along with it. This is amazing. This is amazing. Study hall really helped today. Thank you, Becky. We did brain dumps, and it actually kept going, and it got deeper and deeper and deeper. Next Wednesday, we're doing study hall at 7 p.m. and we're going to be talking about Having a book of rules and regulations for your grief, a manual for your grief. Go register, show up, bring your brokenness, bring your questions, bring your grief story, bring your unfinished, raw, still in progress grief story. That's the story I want to honor tomorrow night. That's the story I want to honor with you. I'm here for you, friends, but I can't do the work for you. No one can do it for me, and I sure as hell can't do it for you. You got to do it. No, there's no cost for a session with me. You go in the calendar, you go in the link, which for you, because you're on Facebook, is going to be the Beacons AI at the Grief School. Click on the link. To have one session with me, it's 45 minutes. There's no cost. I'm suffering from depression. I'm handling everything at my mom's house, and I've reached out to Maria, and she required me to get homeowners insurance so the crew could come in and clean out the house. I'm missing your lives, and my helping parents live today. You luckily have siblings that would help you. I have no one, and my therapist isn't helping me very much. I have an idea for you, Cynthia, on your grief. If you get a chance, go make an appointment with me. Set some time with me. Get on my calendar. I have an idea about you and about mom and why it still feels so heavy. I'd love to see you. Click the link that says Beacons AI, the Grief School. It's right at the bottom of the social media post. And I'd love to spend time with you there. It seems like there are so many things I need to grieve at once. Yes, but here's where I will lead you, Becky. When we get to what you need to grieve, what we actually start doing is we look at what's the heaviest. I also have a plan. I have a plan that I teach of how we find where to start, but we also look at what's the heaviest. Ultimately, you, the griever, has the say. Yeah, the stuff you hate so much. I worried about my son for 38 years. I didn't know how to live without that worry. That's also a part of your grief, Don. Don, that's a huge part of the grief. The worry, whether your son left and the worry was still there or the worry was gone, can be a grieving experience, right? I don't know exactly for you, but it can go either way. The fact that we still have the worry is a grieving experience. The fact that now I don't have the worry is a grieving experience. Depends on how it fits into your life, but it can be grieved. We need grief affirmations as soon as possible. I don't know how to do this, but I'm learning. I'm learning how to do this. Grief affirmations only speak to the brain, my love. Grief affirmations speak to the brain. And some of the things that I teach is the part of the brain that plays a part in grief and the part of the heart. I don't know why. I love that you laughed at what I said. Girl, I've been laughing at myself all the time. Miss Patty Cat says I'm bawling. That's beautiful. I've never been this deep. I'm so glad you're here. I feel guilty for a couple of months to laugh at anything. Now, not as much, but I'm still in a rut. Okay, Miss Patty Cat, I would be honored to have you show up in Grief Study Hall where we could break that down for you. It is not uncommon. It is not uncommon for grievers in the very beginning to feel like they can't laugh or they can't enjoy. Well, it's like that. Well, my person died. They're no longer here. So I have to be sad. I have to be sad for them. That's not true. That's not true. It does happen. My son has been gone for 4 months. It's not getting better. Tina and Jason, it's only been 4 months, my love. Erica, I would love that. I would love that, Erica. Becky said study hall really helped today. It's only been 4 months. How old is Jason your son, my love? How old was your son? Tracy says, my heart to yours. She's sending you love. How old was your son, Miss Tina? And I'm asking that for a specific reason. Can you share his first name with us and his age? Dude, it's hot in here. Okay. And I'm asking you that for a reason. Let's say your son was 18. I'm going to make this up. If your son is 18, Jason is my son, and he was 32. He's 32. So, okay. Miss Tina, you had a relationship with Jason. Oh, his name is Christopher. Christopher. I love that name. You had a relationship with Christopher for 33 years. If you were his birth mother, I added an extra year for the year that you absolutely dreamed about him, felt him in your stomach, felt him growing, all of that. So you had a relationship with Christopher for 33 years. My love, there's nothing, nowhere, in no chapter, in no book that says in 4 months you're going to start feeling better. Never, never, ever, ever. Now, here's the thing that I know about the 4th to 6th month. Around the 4th to 6th month, the numbness of grief starts to wear off. The numbness comes because the brain is trying to keep you away from feeling the pain of the grief. The brain literally wants you to stay away from feeling the pain of the grief. But around the 4th to 6th month, that pain starts to wear off. That the numbness starts to wear off and the pain starts to come up. You're going to, Miss Tina, you're going to have to go through every aspect of this. You had him for 33 years. You're not going to grieve for 33 years. But there's nowhere that I would think that you would be through a lot of the emotional pain of grief in 4 months. One of the things that might help a little bit is just acknowledge that you're grieving. Acknowledge that you're grieving right now and that you're learning how to move through this grief. That's it. I would love to have you come to more of our groups. Come tomorrow night. Come to Grief Study Hall. Learn as much as you can about this grieving. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some energy. And it's going to be absolutely learning what grief is. What is grief? What is holding us back from this grief? Why aren't we grieving? Why weren't we taught how to grieve? Why do I keep saying grieve that shit? Because what we do is we get into the muck and mire of it. And we have to learn how to do that. Hey, Miss Sarah, I've been missing you. I haven't seen you in a while. Miss Tina, thank you. Thank you for sharing Christopher. And truly my heart to yours, my love. I'm so honored that you're here. Thank you, friend. Chris's birthday is coming up in early September. The anticipation is bringing some extreme grief. Miss Sarah, go into the link in my bio and set some time. Let us create a plan for you for how you're going to get through that. Let us together, I will work with you together and create a plan for you. I'd be honored to do that. Aida says Sharon is the best person to help you. Thank you, Aida. You're so cute. And yes, I do need a portable fan. But it was 117 out here. I'm in Arizona. It was 117. I will. Just go to the link, and I think it's at the bottom. Let us break down Chris's birthday, what's happening, what you do have planned, what you don't have planned. See if I can help you through coming up with some ideas. All right, my loves. It is, my phone is going dead. I got to go charge it. It is after, I've been on for over an hour. Cynthia, can you set some time to meet with me, please? A tattoo is planned. I love it. I love a tattoo is planned. I keep saying this is my last one, but I don't know. So right here, I want, you guys probably can't really read it. I need to share it on my Facebook page. But Miss Sarah, when my dad was dying, we all went to his bedside and we talked to him, and I thanked him for being on my journey, and I thanked him for providing for me and the love that he gave me. And he looked at me and he was like, "You be good." That's what he told me. And that's what I got right here. This says, "You be good." And just under that, we found his signature. So I got that as well. So that I just got, I think a month ago. You're very welcome, Debbie. You're very welcome. Yeah, so I got that. And then I got Forever Changed for Sharon. This says Forever Changed. My first tattoo is right here. It's a Donovan tattoo, and it is an infinity circle. And within the infinity circle, it says sisters. And that's what Erica wanted us to get as sisters all together after She lost Addison and Donovan. She's like, we need to do something together. So it's right here. I wanted it next to my heart, and it says sisters, so that it symbolizes us all being together and holding her up and holding one another up through our grief. Absolutely. So if you're a tattoo person, by all means, I love that. I love that. I really think I'm done. Say that. And I was never a person that was ever going to get a tattoo. I used to always say this. I can't even imagine one thing that I would want on me that was a tattoo. And here I am with seven. Yeah, I got to stop. It's time to stop. All right, my loves. I will see you tomorrow at the Grieve That Shit Lecture, talking about how grief makes you sick, how it affects your body, and all the things that get into that. I love you all. I'll see you then. Okay? Thank you, friends. Bye. Okay, Cynthia, send some time to meet with me. I'd be totally honored. I really want to go through this with you. Click the link in the bio and get on my calendar. Bye, friends. I'll send it to you. I'm going to text it to you.